Well, howdy. It's another Wednesday. Got a different mug. You got your smiles? I got this from my dentist. Oh, not my dentist, my orthodontist. Some high quality chicken broth. All right, what are we talking about today? Almost 5-year anniversaries for some of the members. So there'll be some coins, and we're waiting on our special gifts. But don't worry, you got to order like twice anyway to get the stuff with how our system works. Oh, there we go. Someone's having a problem with their outside tote and anywhere from 50 to 80 degrees. They've tried moving it around and they haven't found the perfect spot. So, my first question, if you were in the store, I always ask, are you experiencing problems? And most times the answer is no, but, and then I kind of say, like, well, but do we need the but? So, if you're not having problems, don't worry about it. If you are having some problems, usually it's going to be on the lower end of that, right? Like, okay, fish are getting a little too cold. You might try putting something over the top. That could be something as simple as saran wrap, like, oh, I could do that tonight. To, oh, I have this extra window, or I have this cover I'm going to go buy from Home Depot, like some paneling from greenhouse siding, I'm going to put that over it. And there's a 20 gallon, right? So it's going to fluctuate more in water parameters than something else. The other thing you could do is bury it a bit. Maybe you bury it half or all the way. That will insulate with the ground. So those are the ways you're going to go about it. You can choose, so if you got white clouds, like they won't care. But maybe guppies are caring, some other things might care. And so you can choose which point are you going to attack. Are you going to like, oh, I'm going to put a top on it? Or am I going to bury it? Or am I going to change the stocking? Or am I going to try something else? So yeah. Where'd my hair go? My hair, I cut it in solidarity with my business partner. That's why I didn't live stream last week, actually. I was doing his job, basically. And that previous Sunday, he had to go to the ER and had emergency brain surgery, and then had another surgery, and then still pending to have another one. So things have been kind of upside down over here from that. And so, he had to get his head shaved. And so I said, what, it's a perfect excuse for me to shave my head. It's the middle of summer. My hair's driving me nuts. And we can be twinsies. So I posted that picture. If you're not on the, following the community page, you could see pictures. So yes, always, as I tell people, there's always real life stuff. There's always work, and then there's what's going on in people's lives, and it's easy to forget that someone's always got something going on at home that we don't know about, and I'm pretty open with you guys, as you know. So I got is okay to share that with you. I wasn't sharing that at the beginning because he wasn't of sound mind yet, and I didn't want to ask him under duress, but he's fine with it. So yes, we're all wishing him well. I hope to go visit him again soon. Penciling Sunday, maybe. It's not a show up anytime we want type of situation. So, yeah. Uh, so someone said hopes and prayers to Randy. Randy's not my business partner. Randy is the vice president of the company. But my business partner's name is Steve. And he's only ever been in like one or two pictures and never in a video ever, I don't think. So one day there'll be some kind of documentary style thing, interviewing. I plan to have it interviewing him and maybe my wife and some other key people about the formation of Aquarium Co-op and some of those things. So we'll see if we get that far. Are bloodworms better than brine shrimp? If I had to choose one, I would choose brine shrimp. If I could only ever have access to one, I would choose brine. Bloodworms are really good, especially for some of the more hardcore carnivore fish. But brine shrimp, especially when you can do baby all the way to adult, handles so many fish, and it helps keep fish regular so they don't get constipated. So I would lean towards, I would choose that if I was being forced to choose one. Let's see here. Gifted memberships from Killer Kitty and Candy. Now, if you want to get one of those memberships, you have to opt in, and it's based on who kind of interacts with the channel the most. So if you're liking and subscribing and watching the videos and attending live streams and leaving comments and doing those types of things, it will value you more than someone who doesn't interact with the channel, which is kind of a good thing. Doesn't do any good to let someone win that has only ever watched 1 minute of our stuff. Any updates on the lithium battery shipping issue? Not, well, there's lots of updates. I am basically, in emails and meetings, I was talking about it before we went live here, every day. And with the carriers right now, we're still kind of hitting we're looking into it. And for those of you that aren't aware of this, so we'll rewind a little bit. We don't have any air pumps for sale on the website currently. I have thousands and thousands of them in my possession, but they're not for sale because we are complying with the law. And if you've ever ordered an air pump from us, you see, oh, look at this sticker that says there's a lithium-ion battery in it. And those are being treated extra different lately. So what does that mean? That means that normally we would ship them out and they would go ground. Well, they were supposed to go air, but we were expecting they were going ground, taking like 5 days to get to the customers. But lately, they've been taking more like 11 to 15 days, which is not good. And so we stopped selling air pumps altogether because we've had lots of customers disappointed in that, and they're relying on our air pumps to do a new project, or maybe you were having power outages or tornadoes and that kind of stuff, and it was arriving after it would have been useful. And so we've been doing everything we can to make it right with all the customers. We stopped selling them last week at some point. When will they come back? That's what we don't know. We're really waiting for people to finish investigating with our carriers and going, why? Why is this different when it hasn't been different for years? And what's the most frustrating part is wherever the fall down is in the system, they're not even getting scanned. And so basically we ship them within, a couple of hours of you placing an order, and they get scanned once and then never again until they show up at your house like 15 days later. So that's not a great experience for you guys, and you have every right to be emailing us and going, hey, where is my air pump? To the minority of you, you don't have a right to be swearing and yelling at people. Like that's not warranted. And there's a few people that I'm going to make a YouTube video and I'm going to say how bad your customer service is. By all means, everybody has the opportunity. Everybody can upload to YouTube every day. Do it. But rest assured that we're still standing behind our customers. We're doing everything we can to make it right, and we're investigating to when we can sell you more air pumps, because the air pumps are awesome. So, it's sitting right here, and it's amazing. I just can't get it to you. That being said, there is some silver lining. You can go buy them from your local retail store. So if you have a local retail partner store, you can go buy it from them. Don't have the delays, and it's the same price, and all of that stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. And I would assume we will get to the other end of this little fiasco for our company in the next couple weeks. Those companies we work with can be a slow moving operation. Poor tracking is par for the course for USPS. Maybe in your neck of the woods, people always, I think the right word is conflate. Maybe conflate's the right word. But a personal experience doesn't, how do I want to say that? Someone's personal experience doesn't speak for the whole system. So, like, we track it tens of thousands of shipments at a time. We can see an aggregate shipping time, scans, all that kind of stuff. And on average, and I know there's diehard fans of everybody else, so I get it. But on average, USPS is actually the best, and they're pretty good at it. That being said, there's always times right after Black Friday, during natural disasters, crazy snowstorms. There's always times when things get a little bit hairy for everybody. But it's one of those things of just doing business. You just gotta fight through it and go, okay, well, we'll just roll with the punches. Have we noticed a slowdown with the new Ground Advantage service? We haven't yet, no. Everything's always in flux, and things can go like for instance, if a big sorting machine goes down in Seattle, that affects us horribly. And that might take 2 weeks to replace. Or if they have high turnover, or, anything in the chain can happen. So these things happen, and most times we're able to navigate through them, and you guys don't really get a service interruption for the most part. But every once in a while, something like this hits us, and like, well, you know what? This is unfortunate. We just have to do it. So, but anyway, you got smiles. We'll do our best. All right, who's got fish questions? Any tips on bichers? Have large aquariums if you're doing anything besides a Senegal bicher. People buy them, they're cute and cuddly. Oh, it's $30. They don't realize they're getting like a 2.5-foot monster as round as your arm that likes to swallow stuff. But it takes a long time to get there. Wonder if it has anything to do with fires from e-bikes. I'm sure the whole lithium-ion battery space is something that's going to continually evolve. And there are plenty of retailers out there that don't even put the sticker. And like that's one of the solutions. If we just don't put the sticker on it, it doesn't have to go the special way. But we play by the rules, so. All right. How long will frozen worms and brine shrimp typically hold for? I just moved close to the retail store and had the pleasure of visiting recently. If you're talking like in the freezer, like at least a year. If you're talking like driving in your car, that would depend on, are you kind of putting them in a cooler? Are you buying a bunch? Like one packet will thaw way faster than, a group of 12 in the styrofoam. So I would say treat it like human food, not necessarily ice cream, but like let's say we were gonna buy a frozen TV dinner. They're gonna have that kind of, I would say, keep if you're driving, and probably in the freezer too. So really treat it like human food. Is saltwater any more? Okay, brain, slow down. Is saltwater way more profitable than freshwater? Opposite. If you want to make money, stop selling saltwater. Saltwater, much less profitable. They're bigger ticket items, but when you sell that $700 saltwater light, you made $42, as opposed to, you might sell a $200 aquarium light and we made $80. There's a lot, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but in the saltwater hobby, there's a lot of like competition. I think it's because that $700 item, someone's going, I put this in a box, make $42 with very little overhead because I'm just out of my garage, right? But to do that same thing, like, okay, but I take this and I put it in a box and I make 42 cents. All of a sudden, like, well, that's not worth it. No one would do that. If I do that all day, I've only made $12. So then you go, okay, well, I need to make $2 when I sell this thing. And so I think that's why there's, in my opinion, less profit, and why you see, also in my opinion again, all the large saltwater sites delving into freshwater, because they're going, oh, saltwater, who wants that when we can do freshwater? Now, hobby aside, saltwater's super cool, but just in terms of like business side, that's my advice. Did you get my questions about plants? I haven't seen them. I'm sure they're somewhere. How often would you dose Easy Green in a heavily planted tank, high tech? I personally would dose it every day with an auto doser. I want to keep my nitrates always at least 20 from Easy Green. I've got a little Easy Green right here. I didn't even pick up on the thing. I knocked over an old Diet Coke can and all of my coins. I'm getting quite the hoard of coins going. You see that? I've got all the way from prototypes to the latest, I think, 5-year right here. Someone will be earning that 5-year coin. I'm a high school teacher, and today's my first day back, and man, am I tired. Glad to see you live after work. Yeah, I thought it was crazy. I learned like on Monday, some people, or I guess kids in Arizona went back to school, and that seems crazy to me. You know, that's a perfect example of what I was saying earlier, conflating where my personal experience of school always starts in September and always ends in June, right? Not the case, but it feels that way. Let's see here. Scott Walker with $5. Hey, thanks. Why is Fish for Thought not sponsored anymore? He likes spicy food and I don't. No, the reality is it wasn't financially viable for us. So we did it for a while and we looked at the traffic that he could send our way, and the reality is what he was making from us and what we were making from him didn't make sense. And so after X amount of months, we, I guess, parted ways that way. That being said, he can send an email. He can come over tomorrow. He can, we'll give him any products he wants. He can, we can shoot videos together, all of that. But in terms of, it's like anything else in the world. When you stop paying to have something done, it's like, well, it didn't make sense anymore. So, let's see here. I saw a neon Tetris sticker on a car parked in my neighborhood. Now I got to figure out who the NERM neighbor is. That's hilarious. I've seen like we had these bigger bumper type stickers locally. I've seen those every once in a while, like on the freeway, but I've never seen one of our like small stickers out in the wild. Do fire eels do okay with aquarium salt? Have a baby 4-inch and has some white patches on the skin. I'm going to say no. So yes, there is a salt tolerance there is some they will tolerate, but I would treat it with Maricin if I was experiencing the same thing. I wouldn't go straight to salt for me with that fish. How do I get coins in Canada? Well, unfortunately, you move to America and then you place an order. Or you place an order in America. Well, you have to place a couple orders. So if you really wanted coins, and let me just tell you, this is not the best solution. So don't be like, this guy's trying to get me to do this. I'm just saying, if you're willing to go through extremes, you could sync up your account, place an order. You'll get no coins, by the way. You get none. Because then it will trigger and add all the stuff it's got to do to your account. And then the next time you order, you'll get the coins. Now, you would have to use a freight forwarder to do this. And it would take, you'd order like, I don't know, some stickers or something. And it would take like a month and a half to get to you. But eventually you'd have your coins. Not the greatest solution. I'm be the first to say that. But technically is a way you could get it done. That being said, maybe someday in the future I'll have a way to get them to you. Right now, I don't. When wild caught videos again, Corey? I missed them. Watching the vids every month last years. What do you mean, like going to catch fish in the wild? Well, I mean, that takes planning a trip, spending lots of money, and doing things, which we haven't done this year. So, don't know when. Question on my channel membership. I saw members get a $5 discount on the online store. Does that apply to the retail store? So it's not a $5 discount. It is a 5% discount. And yes, it does apply to our retail store and any other RPP stores that participate. You can find that information on our website. When you look at the RPP, they'll have a little thing that says, do they offer a discount? Wait, what do the coins do? They pretty much, this is the extent of what they do. Ready? Every once in a while I can get a little crazy. And you can flip them. You can also kind of fumble them and let them fall on your desk a lot. And you can collect them. That's what these things are good for. In the alternate universe, where we have enough of these turn into like John Wick coins that will open the doors to the exotic fish or something. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I've scared my dogs now. Oh, good. Am I keeping a pond at home? I do have the giant pond. We added some more shubunkins to it to add to the koi that are there. But I haven't, I haven't been down there much lately. Been real busy. Real busy. The time when I do find free time, it's go visit a business partner. Not a lot of free time because I gotta, now his job, I had to train some people to do part of his job. We hired a courier for another part of the job, and I'm meeting with somebody else for the other part of the job he was doing because so yeah. Haven't had a lot of time just to go, hey, let's go sit in the sun at the pool. Or not the pool, but the pond. I don't have a pool. My wife wishes I had a pool. Never, never will we have a pool. Well, a pond. I use the Aquariumcoop multi and ammonia test strips as well as the API master kit on my tanks. Do I need to test for other things like phosphate? Not unless you think you need to. If you have a phosphate problem, maybe. Yeah, we're working on a big video where we're going to spend a lot of money and buy a bunch of test solutions for our test strips to just show people more that they're accurate. I still haven't figured out the phenomenon where if someone tests their water with liquid kits and test strips, they automatically assume the liquid kit is more accurate when it's widely known people make way more mistakes with their liquid kit. I also know that test strips in the past weren't very good. Ours are very good. But, uninformed people, if they're not, following the Aquarium Co-op, they just go, oh, using test strips? You fool, you moron. Don't use that. Use a liquid test kit. And the reality is ours are crazy accurate, and we sell them to a handful of different water treatment facilities around the country. They're buying 50 plus, 100 plus bottles at a time of the 200 pack so that they can do their testing. And yeah, so I stand behind our product. I like it. And yeah, just rest assured, we're going to keep reinforcing and trying to convince everybody. You can have TSA pull you aside at the airport to drool over your coins. Happened to me at Nashville. I guess that could happen. The coins thing doesn't happen for me. They usually just recognize me. So the coin has never been the problem for me. And oddly enough, well, I think it's odd, but it's not odd because only 3% of our viewers ever watch these live streams. Like no one ever asks for a coin. They're always like, what the hell is this thing? Like, what is this wild caught coin? And it just goes over like a lead balloon. So that's unfortunate. But, well, not every time. There's been a couple of times where people actually knew what they were, and that was fun. But most times they have no idea. They're just like, oh, it's a thing. Thanks, I guess. What does it do? Not really anything, I guess. Trade it for something? Do water test strips ever expire? Yeah. They mostly expire based on moisture exposure. So if you open them up every day in a very humid room with wet fingers, they're going to expire way faster than if you have a dry environment. Your hands are always dry, and so the loose term that everybody throws around is 2 years. That being said, I've had them last way longer. I've also oops, I left that off for 2 hours, and oh yeah, they're looking a little contaminated. I use your test strips on top of liquid tests for my reef tanks. Nice. Please answer my question. I haven't seen your question, unfortunately. And then I see you again, Preston. Thanks, Nabuk. It's hard to see your question. If I pay the shipping and waiver the warranty, will you ship to the UK? Unfortunately, we won't, Pete, because one, it creates jealousy. Other people go, you ship to that guy, why won't you ship to us? And then two, it requires someone to go to the post office because our machines are so dialed in. Like all the shipping stations, it's not like you've got a computer and you're like, oh, I'm just going to ship a thing. It's literally all down to just barcode scans and all of that. And so shipping something outside of that system is actually quite a lot of work and difficult to pull off. So the answer is probably not, unfortunately, at this time. Why does my Easy Green get all clogged up and sticky after a month? Well, you've got residual Easy Green in the squirt container. You can either shake that a little bit when you're done squirting, or just dip it into your aquarium to get the residual out. Either one would do it. It's kind of like, and maybe I'm the craziest guy. Have you ever had a lotion bottle or a shampoo bottle where you're like, oh, every time I use it again, it's like there's like a lump at the end of it. Like, yeah, it's drying out. You don't clear the nozzle, and that's just what's happening with Easy Green. So you can clear that nozzle and won't be a problem. I might have missed it in a previous live stream, but why did the $500 gift card drawing reading for the newsletter end? Because it didn't help us in any way. And so that might sound weird of like, oh, you only do things if it helps you. And the answer is yes. As a business, that's what you do. And so what we saw no new signups, no new deliverability, no new opens. Like the stats didn't change at all. And so I'd be better off discounting the next 500 bottles of Easy Green for $1, or giving away memberships, or doing anything else, but basically finding somewhere else to put that $500. So that's why. When I started my company, there was things I wanted to do, like pay a living wage, or it wasn't a living wage because that's not what I said. I said I want to pay enough that someone could eventually work their way up through the company and provide for a family and a house. I want to make sure I provide health insurance. And then one of my mantras was, I'm never going to do something in the company that I know inherently loses money. And back in the day, that was selling feeder fish, right? That just lost money. And there'd be other little things that would inherently just lose money. And you would do it because every fish owner says, but you have to do it. And we still don't sell feeder fish. And yet magically we're making it. It's bizarre. And so, yeah, the $500, we want to, I view it as a waste of everybody's resources, because you guys might be subscribed with memberships, you might be buying from us, and that $500 might be better off making the new Aquarium Co-op product. It might be better off buying medicine for people in Peru. It might be better off. We donated, like if you're going to, I believe, if you're going to Keystone Clash, these will be getting handed out for free. And other stuff like that. So, we always want to make sure that funds are invested where we think probably is a good area to invest them. And when we find out, like, the return's not as good as we had hoped, we will ship them around and try somewhere else. My 40 breeder just leaked 20 gallons onto my upstairs apartment floor the day after I signed a loan for my new car. Yep, get those towels ready. It's gonna be... Right now, too, would really suck because it's gonna be moist. Like, it's hot out. You're gonna have that water in your carpet probably, and you gotta just like blow the fans and let that evaporate after you soak up as much as you can. Oh, here we go. Preston, please answer my question. What is the best unpopular nano schooling fish? That seems like that's like not even a question. What's the best unpopular nano fish? How about I say the Dracula fish? And then you're going to be like, what's that? I got to look it up. And then you're going to go, oh, it's a tiny little goby that's see-through that no one actually keeps, but it gets articles written about it because it's so cool and no one actually wants to keep it. Yeah. It's an oxymoron. Like, what's the best, not best thing? What are we talking about here? And you're spamming that thing. So cool your jets a little bit. And if I haven't answered your question, give it like 5 minutes. I'm real slow in the head. Takes me a while to read and work my way down. So eventually, after like the 600th or 700th live stream you attend, I usually will get that question for you. I like the breeding behavior of Crebensis, but I'm afraid to get overrun with babies. What do I do? Any tips? That's a tough one because I have the same problem. Like, successful, make babies. Make babies, not enough homes. And they're ornery enough to like battle turtles and stuff. So you can't just be like, well, let them live with the turtles. That ain't gonna work either. I don't think there's a good solution you've really got other than if you had a big predatory fish. But most people don't like to raise fish to watch them get eaten. Do I know what the deal is with API General Cure being banned in some countries? Frustrating, these critical meds are hard to source. Well, different countries have just different views on medicines and just overall human health. And what do I want to say here? Meds get used incorrectly all the time, in that humans will use them. So the ingredients in General Cure and like why I want to say Metroplex, but it's not Metroplex. Um, Paraclear, yeah, is metronidazole and praziquantel, and those can be used to treat things in humans, cattle, all kinds of stuff. And so, like in the United States, if I have erythromycin on the shelf, which I do, and humans use it, cattle use it, chickens use it, all these things use it. If you call up and go, hey, I got some bacterial infections on my chicken feet right now. Do you sell erythromycin? I legally can't sell it to you anymore because that's not the intended purpose. Now, do a lot of people come into stores all the time and buy that kind of stuff and don't say anything? Yes. Also preppers do it, all kinds of stuff. And so one way to combat that is just to go, hey, these meds are no longer available to be sold. And it makes it harder to keep some things. And I would say, in your area, wherever you're from, look into getting a vet. And so, if I was in that situation and didn't own a store, I'd be trying to go, okay, maybe I own dog or cats, and I would talk to the vet and be like, look, I need this medicine. And if you say, oh, I need erythromycin, they're going to know what it is. They're like, oh yeah. Or even if you say metronidazole, they're going to know what it is. And you go, look, I need some for an aquarium. And they're going to be like, well, how much? And that's where you're going to go, okay, well, I need like this many milligrams of this solution. And chances are they would maybe ask for some pictures or something and be like, yeah, we can do that. Like, we'll write a prescription for your fish. And that, yes, is that another step than just ordering online? Definitely. But I do think we as a society should become more reliant on salt, because I think salt is the miracle drug. I use it all the time. I recommend people use it all the time. It is a catch-all. It does some parasites. It does bacterial infections. It does fungal infections. It does encourages slime growth. It does so many things. It also can kill plants in high doses. But the fact that we have something in our homes that cures so much, we should know how to use that. If that was a skill I could really get out there, and I've tried, there's some videos, and I could do more. I'll be the first to always say I can do more. But I think that's a skill that every hobby should have. Like, what can I actually treat that I've run into with salt? And most bacterial infections, most fungal infections, and most ick I can treat with it. Like, that's a lot compared to what we run into as a hobby. Now, it goes against the plants, but having a quarantine tank, or maybe some plants that are a little more salt tolerant, there's some things you can do. So I definitely would lean into salt, even in the United States. Even though we can buy the Med Trio and all that, salt is really good. How often do I use salt? Retail store? Every day. My own personal fish room? I haven't used salt in 2 weeks. Before that, probably about a month and a half. I really only use it when something is not going well for me, and this is going to make it sound dumb, so I don't even want to say it, but that doesn't happen that often. It's usually when fish are new, and I don't keep really aggressive fish that like to beat up on each other, so I don't really get squabbles, and I don't use wood, so no one's impaling themselves. I don't run into it too often, so I don't have to even use meds very often in my own personal fish room, but not a lot of stuff's coming in all the time. Right now, there actually is. I've ordered some more fish, and I'm playing, some more libraries and stuff. So there might be some more more salt things going on right now, but it'll be a temporary thing. Retail salt is fine. That's a loaded question. I'm trying to think of something that is, something that is applicable in our everyday life, where if you make that statement, you're like, it is, but it'd be like saying, wait, oil is fine for food? Like, well, sure, but what type of oil? Like motor oil? Like, different nut oils, different, what's it derived from? How much we talk and how often, So I would say most salts, even from your own home, can be used in aquariums in my experience. That being said, I find it much easier for people just to carry like some Fritz salt. Do I have any over there? No. Like some Fritz aquarium salt and just have it. I also recommend having marine salt. They're different. The marine salt's got all the additives in case you wanted to buffer some stuff up. And I know a lot of people are like, I never need to buffer. I got hard water. And I would say, like, sure, I do too. I got wicked hard water. And every once in a while, you got a tank that you're not water changing enough, and there's too many plants, stuff like that, and you actually do need a buffer. And if I was really wanting to make guppies or livebearers or anything look their best, a little bit of marine salt does some wonders. Boy, howdy, let me tell you. Even with hard water, it's good. Would I ever consider crowdfunding a drop for the co-op so people can invest and partner up? Definitely not. Never. Not that I don't want you guys to be invested. It's that it's hard enough to get anything done with like one person's mind at it. But when you start, it's the same reason I'll never sell stock or anything like that. I don't want to have to answer to investors like, oh, well, you should do this. It'll make us more money or this or that. Like, I don't hear any of that. I want to enact my vision. Because as an investor, you might be like, Corey, you're an idiot. I only like canister filters. You should bet the farm and do everything on an Aquariumcoop canister filter. Meanwhile, I'm going, but I love sponge filters, and I don't have a passion for canister filters right now. Doesn't mean I won't next month, next year, but right now I don't, so I'm not doing it. I've been using pool salt, works great. I don't know what's in pool salt, but I could see that. I use a lot of I guess it's called solar salt. If you get the right salt at like a Home Depot, it's like $5 for a ginormous bag. You get the wrong salt, not good. It can have additives. But I will say, money being no object, and in a personal fish room, I like the Fritz salt because it's really fine and easy to dissolve, and there's not a lot of contaminants, where like the rock salt that I buy, you can see little rocks in it and that kind of stuff, and it takes forever to dissolve in comparison. So I like fast dissolving, less fish going to try and eat it, where you got big fish like goldfish are like, I'm going to eat that salt. And that's, so you gotta mix it up and pour it in and all of that. But like if you're doing a salt dip for nets, rock salt works fine. What's the best marine salt ratio for a guppy tank? There is no best ratio. If your water is already super hard, very little. If you like have nothing in your water, they can do quite a bit. Guppies can actually go all the way to full salt water. I personally, and I do want to get back to testing this, so I'm working on that, but I personally tested for a little over a year 1 teaspoon of marine salt per 20 gallons of water when I did water changes. Now, I did planted aquariums, so I never saw a buildup in those minerals. Also in the 1 year, because I would sell fish and do other stuff, I personally never saw a buildup of salinity. But if you had a system that was, all the rage right now, it's a no filter system, and I never change water, and I never feed the fish, and I never do anything, and I never even look at them, and I never do anything, and you put salt in all the time, well, yes, eventually it's going to become out of whack. So do know that with anything you add, whether it's easy green, fish food, fish, plants, anything, when you add, you need to monitor that and go, hey, am I adding too much? Is too much being taken out? All of those things. And so the best ratio will be independent of your water. And where maybe I'll do a video on that sometime. That's a good idea. But what used to happen back in the day is we'd make our own water. And so if you were keeping African cichlids, you'd get a 5-gallon bucket, you'd measure your water, and you go, well, where do I want the water to be? Then you'd start adding things like maybe magnesium. Maybe you'd add baking soda to raise the pH and the KH, right? Maybe you'd add some other little things to it. And when you document everything you added to the 5 gallons, you could then go, okay, per gallon, how much needs to go in when I do a water change? But those are going to be very different. Like it would be very different between here and my store. And that's something I just kind of now hit my brain of. I can handle both waters in some videos where it's like, look, this is retail store water. This is my home water. Here's how I would approach both of these. And that way, hopefully most of you will find that useful. There's always the weird waters where it's like my pH is 150, which that's obviously not where the pH is, but then I have no hardness, but then I have this crazy high level. Like, wow, that is some weird water you got. But I think that would cover like 90% of the hobby of, both soft water and hard water, low and high pH, and how would I approach each in different scenarios too. How many angelfish would I recommend in a 29-gallon? And could I put 6 bronze cories? I would keep 1 angel and 6 bronze cories, no problem. You could do 2, but when they pair off, that can become a problem. And I think 1, and there's always people after the fact, like they're a schooling fish and this and that. I already know. But I've seen a lot of people really have a great pet in a 29 and really enjoy it and not worry about the conflicts you run into. Is regular saltwater tank salinity meter sensitive enough to pick up that type of level? I'm not sure with like refractometers and that kind of stuff. Usually I always use one made for brackish, but maybe. I bet you of the 5,000 different meters out there, some would and some wouldn't, probably. Is a canister filter better to use with a sand filter? I don't know. I've only used sand filters a couple of times, and every time I used a sand filter, I really felt the trouble wasn't worth it trying to dial in the exact flow on that sand filter. Other people get them and they swear by them sometimes, but man, it really seems like it's a struggle for me. And maybe I just don't understand that. I mean, I understand the concept, but I don't know. I never got them. I never set them up and was like, this is great. I always had to adjust them because over time, as the bacteria gets on there and it collects gunk and this, I felt like I was always having to fiddle with it like every month. And for the amount of aquariums I run, I don't like that. I like to set up a system and enjoy it and play with the fish and be managing plants and fish and not so much of the equipment part. I have to add equilibrium to my tap water because I have high pH but very low KH and GH. Makes sense, yep. Basically remineralizing. Can you use dry live rock in a brackish tank with a green spotted puffer? Yes. Is it too coarse? Yes. If I say no and your fish gets hurt, I'm the bad guy. That being said, do tons of people do that and have no problems? Definitely. Would I have a problem with it? Nope, I would not. Why is my guppy eating my plants and attacking other fish? Maybe you just got one rogue guppy. Don't know. Usually environmental problems. If you go, why do I have a fish or why do I have a dog that's aggressive and bites people? It could be, yep, there's something wrong with his brain. Usually it's an environment. Is it high stress? Is there someone intimidating it? Is it the lighting? Like usually there's something helping contribute to the problem. I'm going to call it problem behavior we see. Could even be like, oh, you're not getting enough greens in the guppy diet, right? Could be like, why is it attacking other fish? Because you have 7 males together. There could be a laundry list of things that could be the culprit. It's your job to kind of work through and go, well, we do more research. Oh, they should have greens in their diet. Oh, we should have males and females to spread out that male aggression and things like that. Any benefits to running 2 CO2 diffusers in a 75 gallon? How much distribution is needed? I think there probably is some benefit. Now, how much? I feel like that'd be hard to quantify with the tool set I have, but I think if you had reasonably good flow in your aquarium, the boost you would get would be minimal. And this is all assuming that, let's say you have one diffuser with 5 bubbles per second, or 2 bubbles. Let's do easy math, 2 bubbles per second. And then you go, well, I'm going to put another diffuser in. I'm going to go 1 bubble per second on each side. Yes, it probably will be more efficient. However, will it make that much of a difference? I would question that going, I'd probably not. For me, it might be, and I don't do any cooking, but, let's say you've got a pan this big to make your eggs in the morning, or a pan this big. And you're going, well, is there going to be a big difference? Like, probably not, especially to a guy that can barely make an egg if his life depended on it. Probably not. But to the right cook, yes, probably. Like, oh yeah, not only that, it's got to be carbon, like carbon steel or whatever it is, and it's got to be this and that, and it makes a better egg. I just don't think you're gonna, from running 2 diffusers, you're gonna end up having to clean them twice as often. Not twice as often, but clean them the same amount, because they'll grow algae the same amount. You'll have twice the sunk cost in them. You'll have twice the chance for leaks. And I think it's like, oh, I got 2% more efficient. Like, all right, I guess it is 2%, but usually you could focus somewhere else in your hobby and get a way better return than 2%, most likely. All right. Can a wave maker replace an air stone? I actually have the meter down. I bought another meter, and I told Dean I want to pay him to build a jig for the video I want to make on dissolved oxygen. I've done a video on dissolved oxygen, and in my testing, no, a wave maker does not replace an air stone. That being said, a power head that sucks in air can. I don't like how noisy it is. I don't like the way it looks, but in my testing, it did a pretty darn good job too. A canister filter that sits above the water and just sprays everywhere does a pretty good job. And then same with a hang-on back filter that really fell down in like a waterfall. It did a pretty good job too. All of those scenarios, though, led to tons of splashing and loudness that I did not enjoy, and all cost more money to get the same thing. So if you already own it all, could you set it up? Yes. The one thing in my testing, though, and I believe that got omitted from that video because I lost the footage. So, did he lose the footage, or is he just, is he just trying to pull one over on the public? Yeah, I guess it'll be left for you to decide. I honestly just lost it because I was a YouTuber working a full-time retail store trying to launch it, and then when I went to edit it, I was like, what happened? Don't know. But in my testing, the wave maker, and I tried it up at the top, I tried it at the bottom, pointing at the top, all the ripples on. You can watch that video. You can see the 2 big takeaways that shocked me from that video. Well, there's probably 3, but one was that wave makers essentially did nothing for me. I was shocked about that because you always hear like, have a good ripple on the top. It's the best thing possible, bro. And that wasn't the case in my testing. Maybe my testing is wrong. Maybe, my $300 meter was garbage because there's ones that are $3,000, right? But for my fish room science, it's good enough for me. So that was one of them. 2 was that floating plants like duckweed and stuff had a crazy impact on how little oxygen there actually was in the aquarium. So I didn't expect that. Makes sense. You're like, okay, there's can be less exchange, but you think that majority is going to happen with your filtration, but a lot of it is surface area too. So there wasn't a lot of surface area when you have a ton of plants floating. And then the other one was that planted tanks would be purling during the day, maximum oxygen, but then at like 5 o'clock in the morning would be so critically low on the verge of crashing for the fish. I did not expect that. I figured, well, since it super saturates during the day And that really, led me to like research a little bit more and understand it more. It's like, okay, when the plants are going that good during the day, at night they're going that good, but they're consuming the oxygen. And so even tanks that didn't have a very high bio load were consuming a ton of oxygen because they had a ton of plants. And all you ever see online is, oh, this is a oxygenation plant. Add this to your pond. Do this, do that. And no one's following it up with like, but you also know when the light's off, it will consume oxygen. Green water does the same thing. So there was some gotchas in there in that testing, and I think part of what I want to do going forward is make better videos that aren't done 7 years ago that are bad quality film and audio, where I present something, and if you think it's true, you guys end up sharing it, going, no, but look at this video. And there's always going to be people, from the nosebleed section going, yeah, but you didn't use the oxygen meter 9000. That thing's the only true oxygen meter, and they're $27,000, and my work has one. And I'll go, yep, I don't, but point to the one that you did using that machine, because if you did it, I don't need to do it. So I'm going to try to make more and more of that type of content to try and not myth bust, but educate and learn myself. And I promise I will learn more doing it again, because when I set up these experiments, I have the previous knowledge of the first time. And so I will naturally learn more doing it again, going through the steps of like, ooh, look at this. I thought of another thing to try. Already, I want to, I didn't really try it before, but I want to add ponds. Like, what's my pond like? What's the temperature like? Because the amount of oxygen you can hold in water is temperature dependent. Not as much as we would think, but it does have a factor. And so I'd be real interested to see, with all the pond plants in my pond, what is it getting to at 4 o'clock in the morning? I don't have any air out there, by the way, and it's been on my to-do list for 2 years. I really got to get on that. Best customer service on the planter? I think it was supposed to be planet, but I like planter better. We should have that made. Like, Zenzo, if you're listening to this, or Irene, if you're listening to this, write this down, and let's get some shirts made for customer service that says best customer service on the planter, with like a plant. I think that'd be hilarious and awesome. And maybe I'll wear one too. I like that. I swear that video used to have a different title. Yeah, I tried over the years, I've tried to get people to actually watch a video on oxygen in the aquarium, but no one cares. And so I've tried, like, everyone needs an air stone. I tried, oxygen in your aquarium, and optimizing oxygen in your aquarium, all of that. And universally, nobody cares. And I think mostly it's one, I wasn't comfortable on camera. Two, I didn't get to the point. Three, I didn't know how to edit, and I didn't have an editor. Four, the video quality's bad, and the audio quality's bad. Like, there's not a lot of redeeming factors other than the actual information. But there's nothing to help you get through that. So, when will Aquariumcoop sell 3D backgrounds? If we do, it would be at our retail store and RPP stores. They are definitely not really suited for shipping. Like, it's just a nightmare logistics wise. Yeah, 2-year-old to-do list hits home. Yeah, so yesterday I was supposed to get on a plane and go hang out with Chris Lukup and Oliver Knott for 3 weeks. And I'd already decided I wasn't doing it. Since I've been home from China, I've only filmed one video. It has just been one thing after another for me. And really, I definitely would have gone with my business partner in the hospital. But it's, I really do wish I was there. But where am I going with that? Part of the reason I knew I wasn't going was I had the realization of, I'm going to miss an entire summer again where I don't get any of my summer projects done. Like, there's no air in the pond. We did fit in a couple of barbecues, which I think I created a memory of my life I'll remember forever. And that was last Friday. My grandmother came to my house, which she'd never been here before, and she did a barbecue with us. And that was really good because in the last 5 years, I don't think she's ever left the house outside of a appointment for like the doctors. And so she had a great time. I took pictures. I had a great time. And the rest of the family was there. It was really good. And so that was worth more than almost anything to me. And, but yes, need to make some more time so I can get, power down there and get some oxygen going and all of that. So try a title like, Are Your Fish Suffocating at 5 a.m.? I try to not buy into the clickbait too hard. There's definitely like, there's a million fish at this farm, and there is a million fish at that farm. But I do try to not clickbait in. Like if you're going to watch a video, I want to deliver on, this is the topic and you're going to learn about it, and not so much the hype and then not deliver. When are the air pumps coming back? Don't know exact timeline. Watch the beginning of the live stream to kind of hear all about that. Would you keep a pea puffer with bottom dwellers like a bristlenose and corridoras? No, I set them up as species only tanks when I do it. I really want a 3D background that doubles as filtration, comes in 2 pieces and fits snug, add foam and turn on a pump, space for a heater. Yeah, I think that's what people are trying to accomplish with all-in-one aquariums. I just hate all-in-one aquariums. And most people hate all-in-one aquariums. And when you talk to the manufacturers, they just don't care. Like we were talking to the people that make the Fluval Flexes and their nano tanks, and I was like, the pump that's included with them is too powerful. And they're like, really? What? We haven't heard that. And I was like, are you looking? Are you listening? Because everybody on the planet knows that those things are too powerful for the betas, the intended tank mates. Oh, we haven't heard that feedback. Like, are you joking me? So, I think if a hobbyist really set out to do the best all-in-one, it'd be halfway decent, but you'll never please everybody. So it's not clickbait if that's really what you're talking about. Clickbait or not, the audience, we've developed a certain audience here. And the audience that shows up to my videos, they want to, and I'm guessing, right? Because I don't know all the answers, but in general, on a sciencey type video, they want to go like, cycle your aquarium with plants, as opposed to your fish are going to die unless you use this one key ingredient. So being that we've kind of, hot rod your filter and we have a certain language that we do, if you change it up too much, the people that currently watch the channel just won't watch it because they're going to be like, oh gosh, here goes Corey. And then we probably won't grab the other people because they're going to watch one video and they come and see this other stuff and it won't resonate. So really it's a big, like almost company-wide shift of instead enjoy your nature daily. It's got to be like, you almost got to change the slogan to, I can't think of anything that would be like PR correct. I can't think of anything, but let's see. We are a sophisticated audience that only wants the finest. Yeah. Well, and those science videos, they can be tough because you have to explain lots of concepts. Or I think you do. I think you have to explain lots of concepts so that the viewer will understand what you're trying to demonstrate. And so one thing in an auction video, you'd have to talk about stratification, right? Not only of temperature, but of the water and everything in there. And then bubble size, you'd have to prove to them that bubbles do actually add oxygen to an aquarium in 2 parts. In the gassing off at the surface, but then also as a direct dissolving into an aquarium. You have other things to teach people, like when you inject air, you're also injecting CO2, which no, you're not. Like, yes, you are. So there's lots of, you almost have to think about it if you've ever been in school and you have a textbook. You have to build on the knowledge. You have to learn what some of the words are, the definitions, so that you can explain the next most difficult part, because there's no way to explain it that makes sense without knowing that other part. And so the clickbait type thing just doesn't work when you're really trying to teach something. They feel like it is clickbait, like this sounded cool and it's stupid. Learning's dumb. Where I love the opposite, where it's like, if someone put out a video and I trusted them, that's a big key, and I trusted them due to previous videos and other stuff that I think like, hey, they've done a good job. Like one person I actually trust is Aquapros or Fish Tank Mike. I was talking with on the phone on Monday. He's doing some testing and some videos. And I know he puts in the months of work before we get to consume his 11-minute video. And almost every time I share them because I know how much work went into it, but no one really cares. And what I mean by that is you care, but someone who just put 4 months of their life into making an 11-minute video that actually helps us understand something, and then he gets 9,000 views versus like, oh, look, my piranha's eating some garbage and it's 2 million views or whatever, right? In that realm, no one cares. 9,000 versus 2 million, no one cares. So it's I do what I can to help boost it because I know it's a labor of love of like teaching is not, it's rewarding personally, but not rewarding to the algorithm, usually. Big words are cool. That's a motto I can get behind. I don't know any big words, but they are cool. Like I can't tell you what they mean, but they are cool. You were the one that convinced me to use an oxygen pump on my Planet tanks when I came back to the hobby. Yeah, it's, you have to explain the concept. You can have high saturation of oxygen and CO2. The internet would lead you to believe that with high oxygen, you're driving out all the CO2, and that's not the truth. So you also have to fight internet trolls and all of this stuff to teach. It's kind of like you're trying to teach something with 30 class clowns in the class, but you have no way to really like get through them. Like you stifle them down, you stifle them and everything, but they just crop up and there's some people that will never believe it. So it's like, oh, I've never used an air stone in my life and my fish have been fine. Like, great. And my grandma's never worn a seatbelt in her life. It doesn't mean when she gets in an accident, she won't get hurt. Like some things you'll never, there's a lot of tanks that we run without an air stone ever. And then there's lots that can't. I'm having a couple bubbles come out the side. I have a short air stone tube and I turned down the air and I'm still getting bubbles. Make sure it's very perpendicular. And then make sure your sponge filter is not off to the side. If it's like this, air is going to want to just travel up. It doesn't want to follow it. That being said, the new thing that will be coming out, which is in my fish room right now, it's going through another layer of testing and we're saving all the versions. So this is going to be one of the first times I think where I'm going to show you from Corey's prototype all the way to production when we release it. That'll be fun. But I'm running a whole version of my fish room right now, and it's 94% awesome, 6% we got to figure that part out. We're having a little bit of, in my opinion, a little bit of quality control with the laser welding. I bet when you're a kid you didn't think at some day in my career I'm gonna say I'm having problems with the laser welding. So yeah, I don't know anything about laser welding. I just know it's got the tiniest bubble leak. The thing works amazing, but customer service will just quit on me because they're like, everybody goes, why does it release a bubble every 9 seconds? Like, well, there's a little crack in the manifold, from the laser welding. We just got to figure that part out. So, let's see here. I have a 3-gallon on just an airstone and dense planting. Great. Yeah. You got filtration there. You've got, CO2, you got oxygen, all of that from the plants in the water. Good on you. Do I need to gravel vac with every water change in a moderately planted tank? I don't think so, Megan. I actually don't gravel vac planted tanks very often. I will gravel vac where there's not plants, and I do that about once a month. But if there's plants, I gravel vac like maybe once every 6 months, but it's only the little top part to get loose debris, not down in there where I'm hurting roots and stuff. Any thoughts on adding the flow control on the quad power head? It's 100% on me. I haven't, well, not 100%, 80%. We thought we found a new manufacturer. We really liked some of their products, but they've been dead to us, which is always super annoying. You get a great rapport going at the show, and they're like, yeah, this is great. I love this product. I want 8 samples of this. We can make this better. And then when you get back home, they're just ghosting you of like, hey, we actually, like, we'll put money down. We want to get something going. And so they had a power head concept that I liked, that I was like, hey, we could tweak this. I like this. Unfortunately, we still have not been able to get any contact from them. And so by doing that, I wasn't working on the way I wanted to adjust the power head. And so we're still in, I guess I'm still in a stage of redesign a whole new power head or just that add-on piece. And now that I saw theirs, I kind of like it. I'm like, okay, well, maybe we just design something like that, or we find someone else doing that. How would I support a 270 fiberglass tank with an acrylic front panel, block and 2x4s, or 3/4 plywood block were my thoughts. I don't know the inherent properties of fiberglass. So like I know glass, it's meant to be supported on the 4 corners, and I've worked with that a lot. But like acrylic, it needs to be supported the entire way with plywood. That being said, glass can be supported the entire way also. I personally would go with the plywood out of peace of mind. Like it's going to be an extra $100 or whatever it's going to be, but you don't want to go, ooh, I really wish I'd have done that before. Like we'll be working on the 1,500 gallon this weekend, and it's been weeks and weeks. So we're trying to level it. There's a little bit of like, as Dean calls it, the stand's like potato chipping a bit. No matter what way we elevate this, we lower that, we do this, we do that. The floor is not 100% level, but we're convinced that it might be the stand is out of alignment by like 1/16 of an inch in one way. That being said, there's not enough weight to fully seat the aquarium on it. So we're adding substrate, and hopefully that'll be enough weight, because once you fill it with water, you know, metal will flex a little bit, wood will compress a little bit, all these little things. And it's a pain when you're like, okay, great, drain 1,200 gallons of water. We can jack it up, twist this twice, 1,200 gallons in. Nope, drain 1,200 gallons, we'll leave 300 in, jack it up, one twist. Now it's right. And then, no, okay, yep, do it again, but that one gets a half twist over there. Meanwhile, you've wasted like 10,000 gallons of water. So we try really hard to not be just wasting absurd amounts of water. Plus, it takes hours to drain and fill. So, you know, if you can, like with the plywood, like, yeah, I would just do the plywood. Save yourself the headaches down the road, probably. Will cleaning my filter cause an ammonia spike? It happened to me before, and I'm concerned it will happen again. It definitely can, yes. Well, perfect video. The clip video, as I call them, which you can see me before I had all my gray hair and less than, I think, 200,000 subscribers, where I did a video about you don't need a filter, which I find hilarious, by the way, just because that's what's in vogue right now. But, you know, it was many years ago back, and I'll give credit, back when LR Bretts was still repping the no filter thing too. But I explained a little more that bacteria is actually on everything. It's on your wood, it's on your gravel, it's on the glass, it's on all that stuff. And so when you clean your filter, are you going to disrupt some bacteria? Definitely. But I think I do a good job. I think I do a good job in that video of explaining that you should be able to change filter media and stuff and not run into problems because there's bacteria everywhere else. So if you haven't watched the video from this week, highly recommended, highly applicable to your cause there, Jay. Are the Anubias plant species going to be sold on the website again anytime soon? I'm hopeful. I've actually got 50 Anubias in my fish room right now that are going through testing. So I ordered them and they got delayed, just like everything in the world, right? So with this company, I won't name the company, but this company originally when I ordered from their farm, they were delayed by 5 days. And I said, last time I did this years ago, it was not good. And they go, well, don't worry. It will get there overnight. It's not an issue. Sure enough, 2 days late. So it took 4 days to get here instead of one. So, which you're like, that's 3. Well, it arrived early in the morning, so I don't count as a full day if it's early in the morning. But so they went through some extra heat shipping stress, but they look good. And so where we would go from there is, they're more expensive, by the way, so not cheap, but where we'd go from there is, okay, well, that's looking pretty good. Let's give it a week or two, make sure they're really looking good. Then we'll order a bigger amount. We'll put those in, put them in the warehouse, make sure they look really good in the warehouse for a few weeks. Then if that's the case, we'll start opening them back up to the public. So we're as soon as, probably as soon as 2 weeks or as long as months away. And the thing that I don't know, right, because they're doing well in my care, but are they doing well because I have hard water, or are they doing well because their farm just doesn't have Anubias rot? They claim they don't have any Anubias rot, and they never have. They also claim they wouldn't have problem shipping, and they do. So, it's everyone always tells you, like, don't worry, Aquariumcoop is as fast can be, and their stuff is as cheap can be, and our customer service is as good can be, and we'll make you a sandwich, and we'll do all that, but then your experience is actually like, well, they're pretty good, but they don't do all that. Like, you're always going to put your best possible self forward, and it's hard to live up to those. So usually we self-sabotage and go, we're terrible, don't buy from us, our customer service sucks, all of that. And then you're pleasantly delighted when you're like, no, it didn't, it was great. Oh, was it? Oh, that's good to hear. In a past stream, it seemed like you disliked Tidal CChem filters. Yes, they suck. If you had to run a hang-on back on a larger tank, a 55 to a 125, what would I choose? If I had to buy one tomorrow, I would buy an Aquaclear 110. But Corey, they don't self-start when the power goes out. But Corey, I had one of those and it did a thing. But Corey, yes, there's none out there that are perfect. However, that is the one I would buy, and I like the most. So I personally would buy an Aquaclear 110. I like them. I find them to be very reliable. I don't have the priming problems. I don't have, a lot of the problems that other people have. I know Scene Fought Aquatics hates them. I don't know why. I love them. That being said, with the CChem Tidal filters, it wasn't just a personal preference issue. I had employees, so we bought 40 of them to test. We set the whole warehouse running on them back before we had the bigger warehouse than we do now. And different employees would kind of pull me aside and like, hey, I know you want to try these, but this is not going good. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of know, but, we're going to try another thing. And they're like, okay. And then another one, a few days or a week later, be like, hey, this is like sucking up the shrimp, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know, we're going to put a thing around that. And then they'd be like, hey, and I'm like, all right, we're going back to the Aquaclears, because none of those problems existed in our tanks with the Aquaclears, and they still don't. So, yeah, that's where I stand on those. But can they make guac? Dean, can you make guac? One time, Dean brought guac to the store expansion, and it was the best building day of my life. Has the rhizome rot ever been solved, or still a mystery? As far as I know, it's still a mystery. There's lots of, click your heels twice and, take a shot of chocolate milk and it'll cure it. Just like blue green algae. Everyone's got a different remedy on how it becomes and how you get rid of it. I think there's a lot of causes and effects there. And here's my best answer to the Anubias rot. If it was solvable, these companies, these farms, they're doing millions of dollars a year in Anubias rot, would put the solution into place. And that's why I don't think there is a solution. I think there's got to be a way to like get your stock to not have it, or it's the way you're keeping it. There's not like a just, sprinkle a little of this in there and it solves it. So maybe there will be at some point, but I don't think we know of it yet today. I love my Aquaclear. I tried the Tidal and it was not good. The pricing on Tidals are amazing. And let me be clear here. I don't sell aqua clears and I don't sell titles. So it's not like he says he likes aqua clear because he sells them. I don't even sell. I'm selling for years. But the pricing is way better on the titles. So you see a lot of dealers selling titles because they're like, oh, we make a lot of money. That's how the world goes round. You make a lot of money because the product isn't as good, in my opinion. And yeah. I'm a fan of the title. I don't recommend them without modding them at all. I've got the mega thread on the forum, and it's a lifesaver for me. And hear me out. Hear me out. If you were to make a hang-on back 5 years ago like Tidal did, and your CChem, which is a giant corporation that is worldwide and with insane amounts of money, in my opinion, you shouldn't have to modify something a ton to use it out of the box. If all those modifications have to be done, they should just fix the product. There's a lot of things they could do, and they choose not to. So that's my beef, is like, why not make it better? You see us do it all the time. Our stuff, we'll make it better. We go, hey, that's just better. Let's do that. And it gets better. Or it gets different. Not everyone loves our changes. I'm trying to think of a change people don't like. I don't know. I know there's been stuff where it's like, everybody loves us except for you. What am I going to do? But I think it's a company's duty when they have an idea and they can find the solution to do it. Sometimes it's like, this thing sucks, but if you don't know how to fix it, like, it's never going to get fixed. But if you know how to fix it, well then you should try, I think. And money can be a concern. I'm just saying, Seacom's a big company. They've launched a lot of new products before fixing their other ones. So, hey, what do I know? What are my thoughts on the Flueball 3.0 59 watt? I think it's an awesome light. I ran them for many, many years. I think they're awesome. However, if you factor in money, I would tell you our light that I sell, so don't listen to what I say because I'm selling it. I think our light is a better value for your money. But if you absolutely love programming with your phone, buy that one. It is more expensive, and it will allow you to do that. If you're good with, I'm going to click the button and save 40%, ours looks real good. And we have the, what was it? Best customer service on the planter. So I like the self-priming portion of the Seachem for my work tank that I don't see on weekends with common power outages there. Yeah. I don't like the fact that it murders baby fish, sucks up plants and fish and food. And that's what I'm saying is, like, they can make the best one. Like, universally, the surface skimmer is kind of just crappy. Majority of the market wishes it didn't have it. Great. Build an add-on to solve that problem like Emperor filters have, or get rid of it, or make it a piece that you can choose to delete or not. Like, it's one thing when the product's brand new and you're like, give some time, right? It's another thing when it's like, yeah, you had 5 years though. You can make it better. What are my thoughts on the Emperor 450? I think they're okay. You can get them on super deals sometimes. I like aqua clears because it's so easy to cut to fit filtration and all of that, and not so much, like the Seachem titles made in weird shapes, so you got to buy their dumb thing, right? Their basket shape's dumb. I get it. I could do it, and we don't. We try not to do that kind of stuff because I just think it's gimmicky. We do cut to fit pads. It fits anything, whether we sell it or not. It'll fit it, and I want the same thing. Like, just let it fit stuff. Don't make the hobby harder than it needs to be. The Emperor 450s, I've used them. They're not bad. I wish they weren't so marketing on like cartridges and more lended. And part of it is me from a guy that has to clean up, right? So you're new to the hobby, you come in, you've spent way too much money on dual Emperor 450s for your 75-gallon tank, and you finally make your way to the Aquariumcoop, and you're like, I'm going broke. I'm buying these cartridges all day long, and then I replace them. My tank gets cloudy, and then this is happening. And we go, okay, well, it's you want to get reusable media in there. You want to get an intake sponge going. You want to do all these things. And they're always like, but why why do all the pet stores sell these things? Like, well, yeah, I sell you one $12 sponge and that's it. If I sell you $30 worth of cartridges every 2 weeks, I make way more money from you. And too many businesses, chain stores, that kind of stuff, they're there to make money. I'm here to make money too, but they've got no attachment to the hobby. For all I know, the owner of the chain stores are like, I'm all about parrots and I do great things with parrots, but I don't really care or know about fish, and so just make me money over there. Like, I don't know what, what's going on in the big meetings, but I know in my big meetings, it's like, that's not good for the hobby. That's not good for the environment. Or we're not making any money. Like, we have to pretty much try to balance those three things. Is it okay for the environment? Is it kind of a good move for the hobby? Are we going to make some money, not go broke? Sounds like we should be trying to do this. I'm ordering tacos for dinner. What's my favorite taco truck style taco? I don't think I have one. I don't order true street tacos very often. Or when I do, I don't go out of my way to get them. So it's like at farmers markets, it's on the side of the road. I'm just like, ooh, I'm hungry. Those sound good. But most often I try to order like, hey, can I get a chicken? Can I get a steak? And can I get, a pork one? And I just eat them. And let them have the fixings on there. I can pick off anything I don't like. The only thing I really do is say, hey, let's not make it crazy hot. I just don't want it to be like, oh my God, I'm on fire. Outside of that, I'm cool. I want to know, what flavor you got going. And I'm in love with the taco truck that's in our parking lot. Pastelitos. I've been eating them nonstop. Not nonstop. I've had them like 3 or 4 times now, but every time I'm there, ooh, I got to get me some more of those. They're real good. They do street tacos, but those things are so good. I haven't deviated. Barbacoa for me? Yeah, if I go to Cafe Rio, barbacoa tacos or nachos, that's my jam. What's the latest on my heaters? They got a green logo now instead of a white logo. I don't think we have too much other on this version. What I can tell you is we keep sending the data back to manufacturers, all the error codes, all the stuff that ever comes up, and we just keep attacking top down. What's the next biggest problem? What's the next? How can we buy a better component? Can we change the shape? We haven't changed the shape, but we keep asking the question, what can we do? Our goal is, how do we get this to zero? How do we get this to zero? Just keep chasing zero. Even when, they're like, but the numbers are so small. And I'm like, yeah, we want to get it to zero though. Like, we want it so that the heater is an important thing. We want it to be perfect, or as close to perfect as we're ever going to get. Did I treat myself that Rolex? I did. I do have it. Have vendors been treating you differently now that you're a bigger company? Nope, they still hate us. The problem is we are a bigger company, but we don't really work with people. So, like before, when we didn't have money and we wanted to work with companies, they're like, hey, you're just a random YouTuber, no good. And then now that we have money, or at least more working capital, we don't want to partner with them. Like, why would we sell your thing? We can make our own. Like, yours has this flaw. We're basically going to do that, but fix that flaw. And I got my idea over here. So we don't work with a whole lot of companies anymore, which is irritating. But they also don't want to hear what I have to say. Because they're like, well, but what you said is going to cost money and a lot of work. Like, yeah, but that's what actually fixes it. Yeah, that's not really what we do here. I will say, with my big talks and with Awaze, they did make one change. They changed the intake filter porosity on their product, which was good because it was much too fine to begin with. All the other changes that would have made the products, in my opinion, better, don't work. And even Dean was giving them some crap when they came to speak at a thing he was at, and he's like, your fluidized media isn't fluidized. And they're like, yeah, we know. So it's just stuff like that where it's like, but why not change the box? Literally, it's not hard. We change boxes, we update stuff all the time. It's not hard. Put someone of your company of 400 people, get one of them to do it. Not hard. Will your lights stay on the same settings after the power turns off? Oh, you better believe it, T-Shot. Anything that would annoy you, I tried to think ahead and go, ooh, people won't like that. Let's make sure ours doesn't do that. Try it as much as we can. Are we going to see you in Daytona this November? If you are, I'm not doing a booth. I was talking with Sean, one of the owners of Aquashella, just a couple days ago. And I said, I'm not committing to anything. I'm just trying to get my head above water. I got my business partner in the hospital. I got a retail store that's still got to open. I got products. I got fish room videos I got to make. I've shot one video since I've been in China. Like, it's crazy. I haven't done anything in the summer really. And so I'm not committing to anything. And his ask was like, hey, try to give me at least a week so I can let people know. And he's like, if you came, I would love if you did autographs. And I said, if I come, we'll find a way that I can do some autographs and some, like, a little bit of meet and greet. But I don't want to do a full-on booth where we're spending 30 grand to do it. If I just fly in and I hang out, I want to be, and, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. So please, I do a lot of complaining. Try not to take this one as complaining. I want to go to a show and I want to be a hobbyist. I want to go look at the booths. I want to see what's cool. I want to buy stuff. I don't want to be the booth, right? Because when you're the booth, that means I don't get to be the consumer. I want to be the consumer again. So I think the best way to do that is to not do a booth and just show up, hang out with you guys, and shop the show and do the stuff instead of like, oh, I got to be on at when, Irene's got to be on when, Zinda's got to be on at when, Dean's got to be on at when, who's doing lunches, who's doing the breaks, who's going to get the next run of shirts. We're running low on medium on the member stuff. That is a way different experience than I'm going to walk, oh, they got nachos in the back? I'm going to get some nachos. I'm going to sit down, talk with some, new people I meet, and then be like, yeah, I heard they got this crazy thing over there. You guys been over there yet? I'm going over there for now. I want that experience again. So if I go, that's the experience I'm doing. That's right. I've got dogs to pet. That's why I got to stay home. Corey the complainer. It's my specialty. I do recognize that I complain a lot because I analyze everything, but most of the time it's not coming from a place of malice. It's coming from, I can't stop my brain from like, yeah, but why wouldn't you just fix this? Like, this is clearly wrong. Just fix it. Like, you can do that. And it doesn't happen with companies like small businesses. I totally get it. Like, you're not fixing it because you can't. You're just trying to make payroll. But when it comes to giant mega corporations, that's from like, look, you got all the money. Like, oh, the CEO got what? Oh, that many millions? Yeah, you could have spent an extra $300 to change your Oase box. Any idea on the ETA for the store expansion? My hope is that it'll be done in a perfect world by September 1st, but in a more reasonable world, sometime in September. That's my hope. That being said, we got a long way to go still. Go the Adam Savage route and go incognito. I have thought about that of like, it'd be kind of fun and almost like more special to people to like see through the costume. But then I also think about, so I don't want to do all the work to do a booth, and now I'm doing work to disguise myself. Like, I just want to show up. And I realize I'm asking for stuff that might be impossible, but I think I could do it. I think, maybe the first few hours, and this could be wrong, right? So if I'm wrong and I just look like an idiot, but maybe the first few hours is like, oh, can I get a selfie and this and that kind of stuff. But once we get through that, I think then I could walk around and just actually have a good time with people and vendors and, really, I probably, my guess, and I'm not committing to anything, but my guess would be, I'd be like, oh, wow, we've got vendors in Florida and they're going to be there. Maybe I'll spend some time at their booth and just do some fun stuff. I want to do fun stuff. And it's not fun when you're taking hot baths and you're massaging your calves and you're going, okay, I just got to get up at 6 a.m. I know it's 1 o'clock in the morning right now because I had to go to the VIP party and then I had to do this. I had to do the vendor party and people wanted me here. All right, VIP meet and greet. Okay, that starts at 9. I can get some breakfast in at 8. Doors open at 9. From 9 to 10 is VIP. And then I got to do normal, like, early entry ticket stuff. Okay, and then I'm on at 11 to talk. Like, it's just, that's way different. So I want to go, you know what? I don't even have to come back tomorrow if I don't want to. Or if it's awesome, I do. Who knows? Santa outfit. That's what I wore every Halloween for many years in high school and stuff. And it was really fun, I would say. And I got a kick out of it for a different reason. So like when you drive to high school and you go anywhere after high school, all that kind of stuff, and the big thing was I'd always, maybe I should do that. I have my wife remind me to buy a Santa costume, not for this, but uh, one of the things I really liked doing was handing out candy at my grandma's house. Did it every year once I stopped trick or treating for myself, and kids lose their mind when they're screaming Santa. It's Halloween, everyone's in a costume, but there's still that magic. Santa, everybody knows Santa. Santa's real. Santa's awesome. Santa's got a big old bag of candy that you get to reach in and like, yeah, grab some candy. It was a good time. I enjoyed that. So maybe we'll start doing that some more. But I do enjoy a good Santa costume. When are the Aquariumcoop hang-on back filters coming? When I can find the time, buddy. Do I ever tune in to Dan's Fish live stream 6 p.m. right after mine is done? I don't. I have in the past, but what happens right after this? Katie and I usually go to date night. So I think if Dan lived near me, we'd be best buds. Like seems like a real fish nerd to me, and he's invited me out several times and I haven't gone because I'm not going anywhere. I do think he's got good fish. I can't confirm that. I've never ordered anything from him yet, but over time, when you watch somebody, you get a feel for it. I get a feel for like, I need to try that sometime. And I know employees have ordered, I know other influencers have ordered and that kind of stuff. So I get the vibe that I probably like that guy, but I've never met the guy in person. We've only ever talked to email a little bit. So I can't fully endorse him or anything. Not that I wouldn't. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm just very cautious about that stuff because, once I give the Aquariumcoop or the Corey seal of approval, it's real hard to take that approval back. So I don't give it lightly. Any plans to make a lower wattage or a smaller heater for smaller tanks? Yes. Currently waiting on our first design samples. So that's in the works. I want to do a West African cichlid tank. I want to do Crebensis, the Southern Mouth Brooder, Turkana jewel cichlids, and African butterfly cichlids. What tank size should I do? And is that a possible stock list? I feel like only if that thing's like 500 gallons. Like those jewel cichlids can get real rough. The rest could probably commingle, but jewel cichlids tend to just dominate. And if you did the rest of them, like 55, maybe 75, something like that would probably do. Unironically, the co-op deck would go so hard. Yeah. I do, maybe we'll do skateboards someday. Who knows? I hope your desire to return to the hobby is a possible one. Me too. I really feel like I'm at a crossing road or something, or a fork in the road where if I don't indulge the hobbyist side a little more, I'll lose touch with it. I still have a fish room and all that, but I yearn for, and I was talking, last time Dean and I were working in this retail store, I said, you know what I miss, Dean? And he goes, what? What do you miss? And I said, I miss us just sitting in the fish room, like working on something where it's not, when are you done? How soon? All of this. And us sitting there, what would be cool? Yeah, let's do that. Let's order that. I want to do that too. And I want to go visit some fish stores. I want to do some stuff. I want to go to Peru. I want to go, we just haven't been doing any of that, with COVID and with the business and all of that. And so I'm like, I've been telling everybody in my company, like, it is my goal to get back to the old ways of what I did, was like nerd in a fish room and then he makes some products. That's what I want to do. I don't want to make videos. So that's what I try and do. Whips World, not a members only comment section. Nice. Yeah, I haven't done members only in quite a while. I do every once in a while because I like to give, some chances. But in general, I think right now, for a long time, you just have to have been a member of the channel, not a member, a subscriber of the channel for at least 5 minutes. It helps keep the trolls out a little bit. Are comets very stressed in 76 to 78 degree water? In my water, I haven't noticed that. They seem to thrive. So I wouldn't say But, maybe that's the one stress factor. You guys, maybe I should do a whole video on that, stress factors. But I do believe that most fish will all tolerate one stress factor, and it's when you compound them, like maybe high heat, low pH, breeding behavior, erratic lighting. You start compounding some of those, and that's where you can see some real stress factors come in. Low oxygen would be another one. Morning from Sydney, Australia. At work, so I can't catch much of the live, but I look forward to your VOD later on. Have a great week. You too, buddy. On the speaking of Australia, I have been asked to let you guys know that Extreme should be more available in Australia slowly, and ask your local stores, and they can order it in from the wholesalers. So this is taking time. They've wanted me to go out there, but as you know, I'm not really leaving my house, so haven't really been able to help promote that at all. Plus, we're working on our own foods. It doesn't make sense to hype train Extreme too much. So I want to be frank. The marketing for Extreme will be fairly limited going forward. I still think it's an amazing product. We still sell it. I'm going to sell it for a long time. That being said, when we launch our own stuff, you're going to be like, Corey, you said Extreme was the best. And I would say, you're right. At the time I was saying that, Extreme was the best. When I launch our food, I won't have launched it unless I think it's the best. And so it's going to seem like, oh, you just jumped to what the latest product is. It's going to seem that way, but my goal is to make some foods I believe in, try to keep the price competitive, try to do things that I want to do, and that's what the song and dance is going to be like. Why you were all about this food, now you're about your food? If Extreme could keep the price down lower and it was more affordable to more people, I probably wouldn't launch another food. I do think their food is good. I do think they should focus their energy on bringing prices down instead of launching more versions of foods. That being said, I do like their food. So that way, and we could be years from our own food, right? We just got through the logjam of FDA, so we don't have samples yet. So we could be way far away, or my recipe that I want them to do could be a hit. I don't know yet. But, I just want to get you guys know that, when, just like the Fluval light, we do our own light. No doubt the Fluval lights are still good and will be good. They're just at different price points. So, Fluval's tripping, and their shipping and their company, they got problems, but their lights are good. Their aqua clears are good. Their cancer filters are good. Their bug bites are good. Just because I don't sell something or I stop selling something, usually it's something internal in our business. Like, I would love to sell a cancer filter, but it costs $10 billion to ship. Doesn't make sense for us right now. My spotted Congo puffer lives with a school of Julie Corys, and they get along. That's a good tank right there. I make a lot of my own gear, even some of the meds. Hey, you do you, buddy. Really, Aquariumcoop only fills in when you guys don't DIY, or you have a local store to buy from, or whatever. Like, I try to come off, use what you got first. If your light grows your plants amazing, don't buy my light. If your food is amazing, don't buy my food. If you're like, but if you have a need and you got to go, well, which company would I trust? And I got to buy a product. I do hope you go, well, I do trust Aquariumcoop. I'm going to go there. That's my only hope. But if you have another brand air pump that's working great, don't buy ours. If yours breaks and you're going, who should I buy? Maybe our hat's in the ring. But maybe you go, well, I had that other pump 22 years and it's from this company. Maybe you buy them again. Happy to be a part of this community. I've been a long-time viewer. Welcome to the team, Blake. The Hobgoblin. I do like myself a good Hobgoblin. It's true. In a game, when there's a Hobgoblin, the game is always this much better if there's a Hobgoblin in it. Let me tell you. Pretty much any type of goblins, I'm down. But Hobgoblins in particular, it's about to get real nerdy. We got Hobgoblins. My spotted puffers get along with threadfin rainbows. I love threadfin rainbows. I think they're an underappreciated fish you don't see often enough. What's going to eat that clear fuzz on new wood? An army of Amano shrimp and sometimes livebearers from my experiences. I'm so excited. I finally caught a live stream. Well, Stephanie McClung, welcome. Wait, did I say 5 years or 5 months? I think that's months. I was like, in 5 years is the first one. That's impressive. Does Easy Green work well in hard water? Watercolors Aquarium Podcast is talking smack about it not working in Michigan water. I don't know specifically Michigan water. I know it works. I have hard water. It works great in my water. My guess, and I don't know, my guess is they're leaning into the science of like, at this pH, this thing doesn't work scientifically. And then meanwhile, you actually use it and you're like, oh, it does work. Just like, originally, you can't do an all-in-one fertilizer. It's impossible. And then, oh, but you can, and everybody does it now. So I will always tell people, I don't know, I only know fish room science. I put it in and plants go, ooh, that's nice. And then I go, that's pretty awesome. As opposed to chemically, that's impossible. Great. Chemically, I don't care. I care with what is the actual result. So, there are big companies out there that claim that our Easy Green kills shrimp, and they routinely tell our customers that. And then I ask you guys to go, hey, how many of you are keeping with shrimp? And then how many colonies of shrimp do I have out there with Easy Green? Clearly killing them all, right? It's really hard to, and I guess I'd probably be fighting off more than I even should, but normally I just tune that out. I go, well, read the reviews, 4,000 5-star reviews. I guess none of them add hard water or shrimp or this or that. Like, I don't know. I would say use what you want. If they're, you never know. Like, are they being paid to promote another brand? Do they have a beef with me because I'm just an idiot? Do they have, who knows? What about Mon's Goblin Raiders? Ooh, it's a bad time for taking the beat down from Mon's Goblins Raiders. What's the status of my selling to Canada? I specifically don't want to buy through Amazon. You can buy almost all of our products, I think, through April's Aquarium. They buy from us wholesale, and they ship all through Canada. So April's Aquariums, type that in, you'll find it. Let's see here. What's up, Terrence? Says, what's up, Corey? I got to respond. My shrimp thrive with Easy Green in the tank? Well, you're wrong. That company said it will kill them all. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll be the first to admit, of the hundreds of thousands of bottles of Easy Green was sold, I am sure somehow some shrimp have died. Because I think you'd be bad to say that, like, I could never say it never killed a fish or a plant or anything. Like, you just start going, well, it's 1 in a billion chance. Like, pretty soon you hit that, like, oh, well, it could be 1 billion gallons of water we've done. Like, oh, well. First time going to Aquariumcoop this weekend for my cousin's, first time going to the co-op this weekend, going for my cousin's wedding. I didn't realize they're getting married at the co-op. And when we drive him back with some fish and some stuff. P.S. Bob is a bad influence. Well, if you're super lucky, and I already saw you don't know which day you're going, but if you're super lucky, Leo, well, you might not be lucky. That might be wrong because you might not want to meet me. But there is a day this week I will be at retail. Same with Dean. So there is a chance you stumble upon us. That being said, it might be because we're swearing because we keep hitting our thumbs with hammers trying to build stuff. Corey, I can help you test Easy Green for shrimps if you need. I'm more than willing to do that. Yeah, I mean, the more people that are willing to kind of test and do stuff, it helps just reaffirm. Like, I know it doesn't kill shrimp, but when it's like, well, I think they know what they're doing. They sell a lot of shrimp online. Like, sure. But maybe there's just a personal conflict and not actually truth there. That happens too. I'm checking out April's Aquarium right now, but I hope the shipping isn't crazy because I'm closer to the East Coast. to the best of my knowledge, not crazy. I mean, all shipping in China, in Canada is kind of crazy because you got a weird postal system, but to the best of my knowledge, not so bad. It's cheaper to buy from them than it is for us to ship to you. So that's a plus. We really tried because they got right now they hold uh, exclusive rights to sell online in Canada, and I rule with an iron fist. So I'm like, you got to be affordable, you got to do a good job, you got to ship relatively quickly. Like, we're not saying you got to go not make any money, but don't give me a reason because we get approached by other companies. Well, can I do that? No, we like to commit to one company. As long as they do a good job, we'll stay with them. Uh, and so they've been doing a great job though, from to the best of my knowledge, and they buy a lot, they're moving a lot, which doesn't mean they're doing a good job, but the feedback I get and I see in different comments is they've been doing a good job. They're also active on social media, so uh, I think it's a good partnership we got going. Send me all your products so I can test them. I'll tell you what, send me all your credit card numbers and I'll see if they swipe. I use Easy Green with my cherry shrimp and have for almost a year. Yeah. Can I please rate your tank? No. Because I would only enjoy rating a tank that's amazing. And I used to do that kind of stuff. And it didn't make me feel good when I was picking apart stuff. Because to me, and I truly believe this, I can fall in love with the fish tank at the restaurant, at the 4-year-old's bedroom, at the pet store. Like, it doesn't. I'm fascinated by fish, different combinations. Like, wow, that is an awesome SpongeBob setup. I've seen customers come in, they show pictures like, this is the Barbie setup my daughter did, and like, that's actually awesome. Like, a lot of creativity, and that thing is sweet. Doesn't mean I'm putting that in my living room, but I can look at it and go, wow, you really nailed that. Like, that is actually really good. That's clever, good ideas. Ooh, what'd you use to coat that so it doesn't leach into the water? Like, there's always something to learn about someone else's aquarium. If you're not learning or at least appreciating in some way someone else's aquarium, I don't know, I feel like you're a little bit selfish. Like, I can't, like, even in movies, I'm like, hold on, rewind. Look at that aquarium. What could I learn from that? Where we even like, and it's stuff from before my time. Like, back when I was watching X-Files when I was younger, I didn't realize Mulder had aquariums. And so I'm constantly analyzing, going, ooh, water's a little cloudy there. And then I start thinking, oh, I wonder if they actually kept the goldfish, or were those like a rotating thing? And is it he didn't have that, his apartment or his home skit or scene very often? Like, did they just leave that going 24/7, like forever? Or was it only like 6 months where they filmed and they took a year off? Like, I'm always asking questions and trying to learn. So I love it. What are your thoughts on the plant siesta? And he explains, Paul explains that, which is good. Turning the lights off for an hour during noon to build some CO2 in a low tech. I do it on one tank, but I wonder. So we used to do it in the warehouse, and I've tried it at home. My personal opinion is I haven't seen a viable difference. Now, is that because I run air? I don't know. Is it because I use Easy Green and it's terrible? I don't know. Is it because I use Easy Green as a magical? I don't know. But all I know is I didn't see any big differences. And when I don't see a big difference, but I do know, like, oh man, I do like eating my lunch and looking at my tanks, then I kind of just go back to that. Recently, I rescued a flagfish that has Popeye. Not Popeye the Sailor Man, but Popeye. Treatment success, but it left the fish blind. Any advice on how to let her live her best life? I would say don't make her compete with other super fast feeding fish. Other than that, just abundant food. I wouldn't. And if it's only in one eye, we as humans often put a big importance on the eyes. The reality is their lateral line, their sense of smell, there's a bunch of things they use way better than we do as humans. And so a one-eyed fish is probably at like 98%. So I would say probably they're going to live a good life either way. I got a phone call from April's Aquarium to double check my address while sleeping. I work nights. The guy calling had the thickest Scottish accent I've ever heard. Well, that'd be Darren. Darren, I haven't got a chance to meet Darren, but I know by that description that is Darren. I believe he is the owner of April's Aquariums. He's definitely had he's definitely had a learning curve, really venturing into the online space at the level of which the product sells. So that's good. But yeah, good. I like to see an owner getting in there and getting that stuff done. I like to see that. Can I transfer my very seeded sand to a new tank and add to it? I'm upgrading my Oscars to their 125 forever home. You can. I think you're going to lose some bacteria. What I would do, I'd put a layer of like normal new sand down and try to put your old sand on top. That being said, you're going to lose some bacteria. I would feed them very lightly, do extra water changes and things like that. But yeah, I do think you can bring some new bacteria over, but not at the same levels. There's an aquarium in The Sopranos. I'm trying to remember because I've watched Sopranos a lot. I find I really liked the integration of aquariums in the TV show The Wire, here's the real reason why. I want to know if someone was actually a fish enthusiast with that show, because there was a lot of aquariums in those scenes, and then when the person went to jail, there was the fake aquarium, and they even had like the German fish calendar with like a clown loach and stuff, and I'm like, I feel like that's an extra detail like that they didn't need to do. So I'm like, oh, who's the real aquarium nerd in there? Because I don't know, I feel like I want to know more aquarium nerds. Suggestions for identifying female Mabunas. Oof, I feel like that's a non-winning thing. Like, some people will be like, well, the amount of egg spots, and then depending on the species, like different color variations, anal fin shape. I don't think there's an easy, like, just do this one simple trick to sex your Mabuna. I don't think that exists. So, do I still recommend custom aquariums? Curious how the experience has been now that you've had tanks a while. Thinking of buying a custom tank and would love to support you and them. Well, so first, I don't get any cut of custom aquariums. See, I hate companies that they all end up naming themselves like my local acrylic manufacturer. They're like customaquariumsworldwide.com or something like that. Custom Aquariums, a glass tank manufacturer. Would I buy them again? Yes. Do I have a brand new tank sitting in the crate to make a new video? It's a 125. Yes. Am I happy with them? Yes. I'm considering having them make a big turtle paludarium because we're up to like 13 baby turtle hatchlings at this point. So yes, I'm still considering buying more. And there are things that I wish they would do a little bit better, but of the people I've worked with, I really do like their professionalism. I like I think they really do good stands. I like the thick glass. I like the options where they'll drill the holes for you. I like the low iron. I like the black silicone. There's a lot of things I like. That being said, Tyler, they're gonna be an expensive aquarium. I know your line of work. I met you at the airport and stuff. So I think it's in your wheelhouse to like, yeah, maybe you do have them, you're traveling a lot, you're doing a lot of work. And so it might be worth it to you to invest in a nice showpiece aquarium at your home. But do know it's real expensive, and not everybody's ready to spend thousands of dollars on one aquarium. Because when you spend that kind of money, it's like my 360 gallon at the store, the 800 gallon in my fish room, and the 1500 gallon that's brand new. Between all of those tanks, we're looking at like 40, 50 grand. If you're not going to use those for the next 20 plus years, in no way could that ever make sense. And that's kind of the same thing on a lower scale for a home aquarium. If you're going to spend let's say somewhere between 3 and 5 grand on your kind of dream aquarium, you really don't want to have to move it a lot, and you want to, uh, you want to make sure you're going to appreciate it as that home decor piece for a long time to come. And if you are, then I do think it is, yeah, invest and really get something you're going to like. So, would I recommend them? Yeah, I would. I like the way that they're created and they're shipped and all of that. I do enjoy that. They're overbuilt, so you will dread it when you actually like, oh gosh, okay, the plywood's got there's a million screws and then this and then this and this is holding this, but it will get to you in one piece, and that costs more for the shipping, but I like getting it. So for you, maybe you're like me, where you might have to book a day off. Like, oh, it's going to be here on Thursday. Like, you might have to fly home or be at home. Same thing. Like, if it shows up broken, for me, I lose a whole work day. And I go, okay, well, you got to send it out again, which they don't want to do because it's very expensive for them. And then the reason they package it so well, they go, the problem, and I asked the owner this, I'm like, why? Why do you use so much plywood, so much 2x4s and all this? And he goes, well, here's why. We do stuff custom. Everything's a one piece made. If it arrives to your house and it's broken, we have to get it back on the assembly line. And people don't like waiting at least a month, and that's if we rush to get it back out to you. And so we do everything to make sure it doesn't arrive broken, and that's going to cost a little bit more, but you get it right the first time. And I can appreciate that as a business. I would rather someone do it right the first time and cost a little more than go, well, 30%, have to redo it. That's not a good business model. This haircut was given to me by my wife. I'm back to my roots. This is how we cut my hair for so many years when the store first opened and everything. Because I was open basically every day and I couldn't get to a barber. And I didn't have any money. I was eating top ramen in the back of the store. So, it's the Katie haircut. Okie dokie. How old or large do white clouds need to be to start reproducing? I got 6 smaller gold white cloud mountain minnows in a 50-gallon pond in the spring, but haven't seen an offspring yet. I would wager they are old enough now. The biggest problems I see is people using powered filtration. If you're not using like a sponge filter, babies are probably just getting sucked up. I got 2 minutes before I got a dinner date with the wife. My Anubias plants are huge! And I have a ton of long roots. How much of the roots is safe to trim for attaching and propagating onto wood? I cut them back ruthlessly, and I seem to not have many problems. That being said, if you do it and they all die, you'll hate me. So I would say just cut a little bit, as much as you need. Would you get upset if you saw a Aquariumcoop sponge filter in the back of a TV show and they didn't tell you? No. I would be the happiest person alive. You know how awesome that would be? I even get excited when I see them in the background of posts on Facebook. Or when I see people steal our images and use them on Amazon. I take it as a tip of the cap. I'm like, we are now big enough that people are copying us. That's awesome. Now, it's not awesome they're copying us, but I don't know. It still seems at any point to me, this dream I'm in can come collapsing down. A 40-year-old dude at the top of his little, I'm a big fish in my little pond, and it's awesome. And I'm just waiting for the oh yeah, that thing went wrong. You launched your hang-on back and ran it straight into the ground and lost everybody's job. Good job, Corey. So I live in that fear every day. It's an unrealistic fear, or not unrealistic. I give it too much weight, and my life would be better off if I could de-stress from that a bit. But, I think it also keeps me working really hard on the company of we could lose it all. I don't want to lose it all. I want everybody. My goal is long after I retire, I want everybody that works in my company. I want to be the company that oh, you worked there your whole life, or you could. Not well, they were downsizing and they did this and they did that and they did that. So it's a hard thing to aspire to, and I'm trying to aspire to it, but it doesn't mean I'm good at it yet. All right. How would you know if it's septicemia? If septicemia is viral or bacterial? I honestly don't know that answer. Which is not the answer you wanted to hear, but I don't want to make something up. I've had images of my car ripped off and put on Amazon products. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you don't want it ripped off, but at the same time, I do think there is something to that. Like, okay, like everybody and their mom is selling an all-in-one fertilizer at this point. On one hand, I'm like, dang it, I wish we could have the whole market to ourselves. On the other hand, it's like proof I've done something right. So it's what's that saying? Do they say what do they say? Do they say imitation is like a form of flattery or whatever? Or the biggest form of flattery? Something like that. Cool feeling seeing your product on the mainstream TV. I saw an episode of NCIS that had our product in the background. Nice. Yeah, I would geek out. I would be showing my whole family, oh my God, look. That would be me, but I'm a nerd, so. How come you don't have Anubias anymore? The threshold of over 5%, we crossed it with too much rhizome rot. We are back to the drawing board, figuring out before we'll sell it again. So you can buy from our competitors. Just know there's a lot of Anubias rot out there, and we're trying to fight our way through it and figure it out. Maybe they've figured it out and we haven't yet. Sometimes people are better than us. But I know I ordered from our competitors and I experienced a lot of Anubias rot just to make sure, because I wanted to try internally go, is it us? Or is it everybody's having the problem? And from what I can see, everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people are having the problem because I didn't order from everybody, so I can't know everybody is. Do I have air pumps in our store at Edmonds? We certainly do. Our RPP stores also have them as well. We just can't. We aren't shipping them right now due to delays in the shipping with lithium-ion products. And when that gets resolved and we get everything worked out, we will for sure be selling them again. So, all right. Let's see. I will see you guys. I'm not sure if I'm going to every week or every other week yet. I've been real busy and I'm trying to de-stress from business partner and just retail store build and not shooting videos and that kind of stuff. So one thing's posed to me by my associates, my company, my coworkers was, maybe you just live stream every other week. Give yourself some time to come up for air. And I go, yeah, but now I'm thinking my watch that I have been wearing, my stress meter has been off the chart, where it's just like I'm stressed all the time. And I'm like, that's not normal for me. Like there's stress, but not this level of stress. So, yeah. So we'll see. It could be next week, could be the week after. We'll figure it out. I'm definitely trying to put out more videos. I want to film some more videos. I want to hang out with you guys some more. Maybe I'll show up to Daytona. Maybe I won't. I've been also thinking about hitting some other shows too. Maybe I just fly out and go, I just got to get away. Maybe I'll bring my wife. Who knows? Going to date night, doing Mexican food. Hopefully you're having a good time. And we'll see you next time. Watch our videos. Hit that like button. Buy all of our crap. Support our RPP stores. Give someone a compliment. Yeah. Anything good. If you're like, you forgot to do that thing good. Yep. Do that. How do you find stores that sell our products? Go on our website and look for the RPP Finder, or click that link that Candy just linked for you, the Retail Partner Store Finder. That'll let you know where the 110 RPP stores, which we are getting to the backlog, could be as high as 130 over the next couple of weeks. So, last thing, Connor says April's Aquarium offers free delivery across Canada on all dry goods orders above $70. There you go.